Well, let's talk about learning. Where do you start when you're learning science in secondary school? Well, if you're just starting secondary school, or even if you're just starting fourth year and you haven't really fourth or fifth year and you're just starting your main science courses for GCSEs or for National Fives, where you need to start is your vocabulary. It's absolutely the most important thing and it's the simplest thing to learn. It just requires you to put a lot of effort into it. And here's the deal. In science, everything that has ever been discovered, everything that has ever been described by a scientist has a name. Every single thing. So we have a name in science for everything we've got, and then we've got names that we put onto groups of those things. And there are bigger groups of those things that also have a name. So we categorize things in terms of groups and bigger groups and bigger groups and bigger groups. And every single one of those levels has a name. There are names everywhere in biology. There are names everywhere in chemistry. There are names everywhere in physics, although not quite so many in physics because physics, we'll talk about physics in just a minute. But your vocabulary is so important for your learning. And here's the reason why. If you don't know the name of a thing, you cannot think about it. Right? You won't be able to think about it because you can't put the word into your head. So the first thing you have to do is learn the name of the thing so that you can think about it. So you cannot gain any understanding of anything until you know the name of it. Then you can think about it. And once you can think about it, your brain will start putting things together and connecting them up and giving you some understanding of what's going on. And you'll understand what your teacher is telling you about those things. Your teacher generally will introduce a thing to you in week 1 and then may well come back to it in week 6. That teacher expects you to know what that word means because they've introduced it to you in week 1. You need to learn it. And the other reason you need to know the names is because in the exam you're going to get questions and the questions are going to use the words. They're going to use the names. If you don't understand, for example, what an allele is, then there's no way you can answer the question successfully. It's not possible. If that word appears in the question, you won't understand the question unless you understand the meaning of the word allele. Got it? So how do you learn these words? Well, it's just hard work. They just don't come to you. You just aren't going to magically know them as soon as the teacher mentions them to you. You've got to get them into your head. And even once you've got them in your head, you've got to keep them there because otherwise they'll drift out. Your brain is very lazy. It doesn't like having stuff in there that's not being used. And it dumps it further and further back until it completely deletes it pretty much. So what you have to do is you have to keep using the words all the way through until you get to the exams and beyond. If you recollect these words every week until the exams, you've got a good chance. I mean, the most difficult words to learn, bizarrely, I mean, a lot of students won't think this, but the most difficult words to learn are the ones in the later part of the course where you've just got a few weeks to get them into your head before the exams. And a lot of people think that, well, that's closer to the exam, I should know it better then, but that's going to be the hardest one to learn because you won't get it into your head until you haven't got time to get it in your head. You really have to work hard to get those into your head clearly for the exams because learning is a two-step process, really. First of all, you've got to get it into your head, and then you have to get it back out. You have to be able to find that information in your head. Okay, so one of the best ways of learning is to sit down and do flashcards. And the sooner you start, the better. So get started with your flashcards. Write the word on one side of the flashcard. Write the definition on the other side of the flashcard. Make yourself a deck. In biology, you're going to have a deck for just Unit 1 of Biology in National 5 Scotland. You're going to have a deck of about 70 cards. You've got to get 70 words into your head, at least. I've got more than that in my flashcard decks. So you've got to get those onto a deck and then sit down, find 5-10 minutes every day to just go through your biology flashcards. You don't need to go through all 70. Just go through a few of them until you're doing maybe the whole 70 in a week. And then you'll have to bring in your Unit 2 flashcards and your Unit 3 flashcards or whatever way the course is structured. And you got to keep doing them all every week, all the way to the exams. But it's really 5 minutes, 10 minutes of your time a day. And there's plenty of spaces you can do that. You might be on the bus on the way to school. You might be on a boat on the way to school, as they are. Some of my students come by boat. You might be waiting for your tea to be ready, sitting down. You've got home from school. You're just waiting for stuff to happen at home, waiting for tea to be ready. Find a quiet place, get your flashcards out for 10 minutes and work through them. If you can't be bothered making your own flashcards, which, by the way, is a good learning process in itself, I have flashcards on my website, dockhillstudy.com, that you can use. And I've built up a collection of flashcards that I think are useful for National 5 studies in Scotland in chemistry and biology. We've got a little bit of physics in there. I need to do a bit more work on those. But we've got those flashcards there. And what you can do is you can use those flashcards just online. Now what you can do is you just take your phone out. One click, you're on dockhillstudy.com. You can use those flashcards. And there's a promise I make to you. No advertising on the page. No login. No tracking. And no fee. All completely free forever. That stuff is there for you to use. It's there for my students to use. I don't want them having anything that distracts them from their learning. I want them one click and learning. And that's the key. It's got to be easy. Open your phone, click on the link. You can put a link on your homepage on your phone, directly to a website. And click on that link, go to Doc Hill Study, and do some flashcards, 5 minutes a day. And if you do that, you'll get that vocabulary into your head. And if you don't get the vocabulary in your head, you don't know the words for things in biology or in chemistry or in physics, then you can't think about them. And if you can't think about them, you'll never understand them. And if you never understand them, you're going to be struggling for anything more than a C in your final exams. But if you can get those words into your head nice and early, you can give yourself time to do thinking about those things in your head, then the chances are you're going to improve your grade. So that's my advice. And this applies. You've got to start that process in your GCSEs. You've got to start that process in your National 5s. And that will make you a better learner in your higher, in your advanced higher, or in your AS levels or A2 levels. That's how you're going to start your learning. So if you're wondering where to start, the whole thing looks very, very, very intimidating when you start doing your course in National 5 or GCSE. Start with the vocabulary, because without it, you're going to be lost. There's my advice. Go to Doc Hill Study. It's free, no tracking, no advertising, nothing to distract you. One click away. If you can put a link on your phone's home screen, or even just first bookmark on your browser on your phone, you're there and you can start learning. Easy. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that video. A little bit of advice for you, and I'll see you next time.